I want to talk about one other issue that as I crisscross the country and visit Hispanic communities, Latino communities, Chicano communities, that the issue of housing comes up again and again and again. I walked on the picket line several times in the recent weeks with the workers who are boycotting the Fairmont Hotel. And God bless those workers. And I've spent time on the picket line talking to these women who are housekeepers in the hotels. The hotels are, fired a lot of them during COVID and now they're at full occupancy again, but they're not rehiring workers. They're just making their current workers go from 12 rooms to 18 rooms a day that they have to change. And these workers cannot afford to live in Los Angeles. The average housing price in Los Angeles, if you want to purchase a house, is $825,000. That means in order to afford a house, you need to make $212,000 a year. Well, they're not making that. And so they're living in Palmdale, they're living in Victorville, 2 hours ride. And they come here, they go drive to work on a Monday and at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then they stay in their cars for the week because they can't afford the gas to go back and forth. And that's the life that we've made for them because of the housing issue. And we have in California has the highest rate of homelessness in this country. There are 525,000 homeless people in this country, and there are 35 million people who are on the brink of homelessness. And I'm going to tell you why. Why does California have the highest? California has 12% of the United States population, but it has 50% of the unsheltered homeless. Why is that? I was in San Francisco recently. In 2018, I was part of the team that tried the Monsanto cases in San Francisco. And so I lived in San Francisco and Oakland for about 9 months out of that year. And every day I would go down to Union Square in San Francisco and I would work out at the gym down there in the morning before I went to court. And in Union Square is like the Fifth Avenue of San Francisco. Tourists come to go shopping there from all over the world. It has all the iconic American stores. It has Macy's and Bloomingdale's and Nordstrom and Gap and Old Navy and Levi. And then it has all the big foreign stores like De La Valle and Burberry and Prada and Gucci and all these other big stores. Like I say, people come from Asia, everywhere else to shop on that. Well, I went back there 3 weeks ago to visit it on a campaign trip, and I was shocked by what I saw. All of those stores are now closed. And the biggest mall in San Francisco, which is on that same strip, is shut down. It's just acre after acre of plywood. The occupancy, San Francisco has been destroyed. The occupancy rate in San Francisco office buildings is 35%. We saw a building that was built 5 years ago or 4 years ago for $350 million. It's now on sale for $100 million. So this economy has utterly collapsed. And when you ask people, why is it happening? They say because of the homeless. There's chaos in the streets. The tourists don't want to come. Nobody wants to go shopping. Why does California have a homeless problem? There's many theories that we all share. Is it drug addiction? Is it mental illness? Is it poverty? Is it because other cities ship their homeless to California? Is it because homeless people, when they lose their job and become homeless, say, well, I would rather live in California than Vermont because I'm going to freeze. So they all come here. These are the things we tell each other. But there's University of San Francisco, and a very famous researcher named Matthew Desmond, have done extensive studies on it. And here's what they found. It's not drug addiction, And it's not mental illness, although those are common, although not ubiquitous in homeless populations, and it's not poverty. West Virginia has much higher drug addiction rates than San Francisco. It has much higher poverty rates. San Francisco is the richest city in the country. And yet they don't have a homeless problem in West Virginia, nor do they have a homeless problem in Detroit, which also has higher addiction rates and higher poverty rates. The homeless in California are not coming from other states. They are almost all coming from California, many of them from neighborhoods where they formerly lived in a home. The reason that we have this problem in California is housing prices. That is the reason. And as I said, you know, if you living in Los Angeles, the average price of a house is $815,000. The average price nationally is $215,000 2 years ago. Today it's $400,000. Why is that? Why did housing prices go up so precipitously? What Matthew Desmond says is what's happened in California is now about to happen in the rest of the country. That's social disintegration that comes when people can't buy homes. There's 35% of our population is paying more for basic human needs than they're making in salary. So that's 35% of our population is on the brink of homelessness. And this is a calamity for our country. It's part of the war on the middle class and the working poor of this country. And why is it happening? It's happening, one, because of the inflation, paying for $8 trillion in wars over the past 20 years, paying $16 trillion that the COVID lockdowns cost us, closing 3.3 million businesses, but mainly, and so everything is getting more expensive. Inflation is a tax on the poor. But the real reason that housing has outpaced anything else is because there are three giant corporations, BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. And those companies own already 88% of the S&P 500. They're buying up all of our farmland. And now they've decided that they want to own every single family home in America. So when you go, and all of us have, you know, I have 7 kids, 6 of them, when I was their age, I was thinking about buying a home. I have one older one who's 39, the rest of them don't even have it in their mind, and none of their friends do. Kids today, we promise Americans that if this was the American dream, you work hard, you play by the rules, you're going to be able to afford a home. You're going to be able to take a summer vacation, to save for your retirement, to raise a family. But that's just not true anymore. There's nobody in that generation who believes, and that's with one job. Now people have 3 jobs and they still are, owning a home is completely out of their reach. And it's because when you go out to buy a home, we all hear these stories of somebody, a friend or ourselves, who tried to buy a home, was about to put the money down, sign the contract, go into escrow, and at the last minute, somebody comes in with a cash offer and takes it off the table. And you're saying, who is this with the cash offer? And so you look into it, and it's an LLC with an ambiguous name. And if you pull the strings and follow the breadcrumbs, that leads you to BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard. Of these companies, the cost of money to them, the cost of a mortgage, is 30% less than the richest people in this country. They pay almost nothing for mortgage, for money. So they can outbid you and they can outbid your children. And they're now, our kids and our families are now competing against these companies which are trying to buy every single family home. We are on track in this country that within 6 years, corporations will own 60% of the homes in our country. And we are, And you know, home ownership is critical to this country. Thomas Jefferson said American democracy is rooted in tens of thousands of independent freeholds owned by families, each with a stake in our system, and each with a stake in democracy. If you don't have that, what we're doing now is an aristocratic model. It's a colonial model where giant corporations own the landscapes and we all become serfs on our own land. It's a feudal system that they're trying to reimpose in this country. And they're doing it because the cost of money is so low to them, and they're, not only that, but if you own a home, as opposed to renting one, and the rental prices, their ownership is now driving the rental prices up, so 48% of people who are renting homes feel that they cannot afford it. They're living paycheck to paycheck, and they have to borrow. You know, we're now living at a time when the average income in our country is $5,000 less than the cost of basic human needs of food, housing, and gasoline. So most Americans are now losing $5,000 a year deficit. They're putting it on their credit cards, and they're paying to Visa and MasterCard and Citibank and Chase and Morgan and Wells Fargo, 22% interest. If the mafia charged you that, it would be called loan sharking and they'd go to jail. But if those credit card and banks do it, it's just the cost of it's just a business, it's just business as usual. Who do you think owns all of those companies? BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard. So they've got this, they're doing it right in front of us. They are strip mining the wealth and the equity from the American middle class. If you own a home, as opposed to renting it, you get invested in your community. You care about the schools. You care about police protection. You care about the appearance of your yard. You care about your neighbors. And we become a community again. When they turn us all into renters, so I think my time's up, and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do as soon as I get into office. First of all, I'm going to rejig the tax code to make it so that it's no longer profitable for these giant mega corporations. And by the way, BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard all own each other. So it's just really one behemoth company. And I'm going to make it illegal, or I'm going to make it unprofitable for those companies to go and, you know, and come in like predators and own all of our single-family homes. But here's what else I'm going to do. I'm going to create a new class of mortgages at 3% interest. And this has been done before. It's been done in a limited way by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which now have a $110 billion surplus that nobody is talking about. Oh, you know, that shows what can be done. But I'm going to give everybody, every single family homeowner in this country, a mortgage at 3%, which for the average family home, it will be about $1,000 a month, which is about $1,000. And I'm going to do it without raising the deficit, which I'm not going to do because our deficits are irresponsible. And here's how I'm going to do it. You know that if you have a rich uncle who will co-sign your mortgage, you can get a much lower rate because the bank is basing your interest rates not on your lousy credit score, but on your uncle's fantastic credit score. So they give you a much lower rate. Well, I'm going to give all Americans a rich uncle. And that uncle is Uncle Sam. And Uncle Sam is going to co-sign your mortgage. And you know, if you default, Uncle Sam can resell the home like they did with Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, which is why they have a $110 billion surplus. Oh, in order to pay for those mortgages, to finance them, I'm going to issue a new issuance of Treasury bills at 3% interest, tax-free. So we will be able to finance all of those. The first $500,000 I'm going to give to teachers because they are the most neglected. Teachers are the most important profession that we have in this country. And they are beleaguered, they're abused, and they're undervalued. And we need to make it so that they can live in the neighborhoods. These mortgages will only be available to people who live in that home and who work in that neighborhood. And